back. It's been a while, hasn't it? How did you get through the winter? Okay? Managed? Yeah, that's good. Sadly, we're missing one regular who passed away, Joanne Muscat. Some of you may remember Joanne. She used to come here regular, and so we really miss her tonight, and our thoughts go out to her family because she was a dear soul who was quite a few years coming along to our demonstrations here, but she had a problem that she suffered with for many, many years, and it got the best of her. But we trust the Lord will take care of her, and she rests in peace, awaiting their resurrection. So, for everyone else tonight, welcome, and I trust we'll gain a blessing tonight as we consider the vegetarian way to health. And as we always do, we usually begin with a prayer, and just to invite God to bless us and to be here with us tonight. I'd like to invite those who are able to just bow where you are. Dear Father in heaven, we thank you so much for your mercy and love to us. Thank you for bringing us here tonight. We pray for a blessing on our meeting and on these demonstrations tonight, that we'll gain a deeper understanding of our health, of your ways to good health, and what we can do to maintain our health and also overcome any illnesses we do have, and thus live a healthier and longer life, Lord. And we thank you for giving us this knowledge, and as the Lord of our body temple, may we honour you with all that we do with it. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Anyone here for the first time tonight? Who's here? Welcome, and I trust you'll enjoy it. As our program is, we normally have a little health talk, 15-20 minutes, and then we'll have an hour or so of demonstrations. Usually with 4 to 5 recipes are demonstrated a night. So tonight I'm going to begin with our health talk. Now I apologise. Right, but we can't get this at all on the screen? Okay, so I want to talk tonight about sunlight. Is it important to us? Vitally important, isn't it? Without it, there is no life. Do you know the surface of the sun is over 6,000 degrees Celsius? It's pretty hot out there, isn't it? And yet we are just at the right distance from it, that we don't burn up too near to it. We'll burn up too far away, and we'll freeze. So we have this little world's been placed in the right distance from the sun to benefit from its life-giving properties. 6,000 degrees, we don't want 6,000 degrees Celsius, do we? We want about, 23, 24, yeah, most days. If you're in Samoa, it's 26 all year round, is that right? I was there, that's usually what it is, closer you are to out there in the Pacific. You know, that sun it's sent there, I believe, by a creator. I believe in intelligent design, and this unique properties that the sun has enables us to live this life here today that we live. There's one thing that we need essentially when it comes to the vitamins and minerals in our bodies that we can't get any other way. Some foods may have a little bit of it, but not sufficient enough for us to maintain an optimal health. Do you know what vitamin that is, that we can't get any other way except from the sun? D, yeah. Now it's interesting that we don't get it from the sun. The sun doesn't, beam down vitamin D to us. But what it does do, it activates the cells in the body, in the skin, to produce vitamin D. Your body will produce vitamin D when it's exposed to sunlight. And so that's important to keep in mind, the fact that vitamin D is ready, the body is ready to produce it if we will get enough sun to activate it. Now, it's important. Vitamin D is important for our health because, number one, it helps to maintain strong bones. It's essential for calcium production for the bones. Calcium synthesization for the bones. It also vitamin D is essential to strengthen our immune system. It also helps with blood pressure regulation, and also it helps to combat depression. Okay, if we're feeling depressed, nothing like a sunny blue sky to brighten us up, but also not just in appearance-wise, but what the sunlight does to our immune system. It actually helps produce serotonin, that nice, calming, uplifting hormone that helps us feel positive about the day. So it protects against depression. So it's important to have a particularly bright sunlight in the morning to wake us up, to get us out of bed, to get us going. Okay, so that's why in winter you usually find it hard to wake up, and the alarm goes off at 6:30, whatever time your alarm goes off. Who finds it easy to get out of bed at 6:30 on a June morning? Yeah. I don't find it very easy at all. It's still dark outside, relatively speaking, and it's hard to get up. But as the day gets longer, the sunrise gets sooner, then what do you find yourself happening? What do you find yourself doing? Before the alarm even goes off, what happens? You start waking up, yeah? You start waking up. So this is what happens when sunlight hits our bodies, as we are sensitive to it, and it begins to wake us up. And this is just the function of it for us in terms of the depression, it fights depression. Okay, so it's really important. So some other benefits of vitamin D, when it comes to the immune system, it must be present in our bodies to enable the immune system to control and maintain a focused attack on bacteria and viruses. And in doing so, it reduces our susceptibility to chronic inflammation. Now, an example of chronic inflammation would be if you've got a runny nose all year round. Anyone suffer with that, runny noses all year round? I know some children, when I was at school, some kids at school did. It's an all year round inflammation and mucus production. What about any coughing? Do you cough all year round, or where you've got mucus on the lungs? That's a sign of inflammation, and so vitamin D will help the immune system fight against that. In particular, viral upper respiratory infections, or URIs. Now, an upper respiratory infection is from the lungs up, and this is the upper part of the lungs, and this is where that problem we all experienced or went through a few years back, called what? What was it called? COVID, right? COVID-19. And we've all been there. Who's had COVID-19? Anyone here had COVID-19? I know I have. Any of you had COVID? Yeah? I've had COVID. I've had it about two times. I know for sure, 2 times I've had it. And it's not a very pleasant experience. But what vitamin D does is helps the respiratory system fight against that. In fact, studies were done to show that high levels of vitamin D in the system correlate with reduced incidence of infection and quicker recovery times. And that correlation was made even before COVID came upon the world. Since 10 years prior to that, studies were being done on vitamin D intake, particularly with invalids in nursing homes. And the higher levels of vitamin D in the system correlated with lower incidences of respiratory infections. And if they did get a respiratory infection, it was less severe, and there was less hospital time for recovery. So that was all correlated with vitamin D. Now, a deficiency in vitamin D can only be discovered through blood tests. You can't discover it any other way. And what they measure is the levels of storage of vitamin D. In particular, it's known as 25 hydroxyvitamin D, which is 25-OHD. And that, according to the USA Institute of Medicine, there are sufficient levels and insufficient levels. If you have less than 12 nanograms per mil or 30 nanomoles per litre, it's deficient. You're considered to be deficient in vitamin D. If you're insufficient, if your levels are 12 to 20 nanograms per mil or 30 to 50 nanomoles per litre, and you're sufficient if the levels are between 20 to 50 nanograms per mil or 50 to 125 nanomoles per litre. High levels are levels that are greater than 50 nanograms per mil or 125 nanomoles per litre. Now, if you ever do a blood test and you're looking at those figures, I'm not sure, I did one some years ago, but I'm not sure if it comes out in nanograms per mil or nanomoles per litre. Anyone done one recently? Anyway, if you're looking at it, just remember those figures, right? The most sufficient, the high levels, if you're talking of grams, it's greater than 50 nanograms, or if it's in moles, MOL, it's 125 nanomoles per litre. All right, so that's where you want to be at, somewhere around there. A value of between, say, over 20 nanograms should meet the vitamin D needs of 97 to 98% of the healthy people. Okay. However, several studies have found that a blood level of 30 nanograms per mils could be even better for preventing fractures, falls, and certain cancers. And why is that? Because, remember, vitamin D helps in bone health. The calcium, the synthesis of calcium in the bones. All right. So the optimum would be, I'd say the optimum level would be 40 to 60 nanograms per mil. Now vitamin D, there's different types of vitamin D, there's D1, D2, D3. I want to focus a little bit on vitamin D3, which is cholecalciferol. Vitamin D3, just remember D3, right? Cholecalciferol, and as its name might suggest, it's a form of vitamin D which is converted to calcitrol. And this is important in maintaining calcium in the bones, all right? Calcium levels and promoting bone development. So it functions as a pro-hormone and it's synthesized in the skin. And this is where the sunlight comes in activating the skin, activating the vitamin D3 there in the skin to produce the calcitriol, which is, as I said, important for maintaining the calcium levels. Not only that, as I said already, it also helps with fighting the respiratory infections. Now, it appears to, and how it does that, it appears to stimulate the body's signaling system, which tells the immune system that there's a foreign enemy in the body, a bacteria or a virus or some other foreign body that needs to be attacked, and a signal is sent to the immune system to fight that particular foreign object, whether it be a bacteria or a virus. Now that signaling system requires the vitamin D3 to activate it. So if you don't have the vitamin D3, it doesn't activate the immune system to fight that particular virus or bacteria, whatever it might be. So this is important if we want to have a free from respiratory illnesses, colds, flus, what have you. We want to decrease those in our life, then vitamin D3 is really important for that. When it comes to COVID-19, as I mentioned already, studies were done that showed that higher levels of vitamin D correlate with decreased risk of respiratory illness, a lower severity of symptoms, and a lower risk of hospitalization. And if you were hospitalized and you did have high levels of vitamin D, guess what? You recovered sooner. than someone whose vitamin D levels were low. So that's really interesting to keep in mind. Now, what was fascinating I found as well, because when we were going through the pandemic, you were trying to find what can we do to prevent it, what can we do to overcome COVID if we do have it. And I remember my wife came up with a COVID pack, which was like an anti-inflammatory pack of natural things, black seed and these various different herbs and whatnot. And this was all part of it, but so was vitamin D3. Now, what was shown in some studies was showing that people who were of Hispanic background, there's Latin American, African American, so with the black skin, darker skin, the browner skin, versus the Caucasian, so lighter or whiter skin. And they found that those who had the darker the skin, the greater the mortality rate, believe it or not, for those who suffered COVID. The darker, and why is that? Because of the vitamin D3. The darker the skin, the more difficult it is, or put it this way, the more exposure you need to the sun to produce the vitamin D3. For me, I need about 2 minutes exposure and that's it, bang. Or else I'll burn after about 3 minutes. 10 minutes, I'm gone, I'm red, that's it. But, and this is interesting, and that studies had been already done previously to show that this was sort of, if you like, it could have been, I wouldn't say foreseen, but a correlation was definitely evident if you looked at the studies beforehand, because from 1988 to 1994, the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey was conducted in America. And that showed that persons who had the lowest levels of vitamin D, what we would call a vitamin D deficiency, were those who were black Americans. And they were very high deficient levels of vitamin D. Next were Mexican Americans, and the lowest were white Americans with the lowest. In terms of age group, children had the lowest, and then the older you got, the higher was the deficiency levels. You became more deficient the older you got. And I suppose that's probably because maybe you don't go out in the sun as much or what have you, things like that. And that, a second study was done 10 years later, and the data correlated the same. In fact, it was increasing. The black American population had even more increased vitamin D deficiencies. So this is really, really significant, because that's exactly how it panned out in the pandemic. So there is a definite correlation between respiratory infections, because it's not just COVID-19, but it's anything that causes the respiratory infection. So what we might call a common cold or influenza, whatever it might be, vitamin D3. We don't really know how, exactly what the mechanism is, but there is a definite correlation between the two, between lower incidence of respiratory illness and high levels of vitamin D3. And also your chances of recovering sooner are better with the high levels of vitamin D3. So just keep that in mind when it comes to the sunshine, okay? Now, how much vitamin D3 I'm talking about specifically here now, can we take a day to keep our levels up there? Well, anywhere from 1,000 to 4,000 international units per day. Now, you can't really overdose on vitamin D3. You can't really overdose. I think someone was saying over several years, maybe someone was taking 40,000 IUs a day over several years. So we're just talking 1/10 of that, 4,000, which is quite a lot, but still, it's not enough to overdose, and that's going to help boost the immune system rather than vitamin D3, and thus your immune system very quickly over a period of, say, several weeks, rather than just taking 1,000 a day over several months or so. So I'd recommend around 4,000 IUs a day 4 to 5,000, and you can actually buy it. It's got to be the vitamin D3, which is 4,000 a day. How much sunlight would you need a day? I don't know how much sunlight specifically, or how much sunlight produces, or how much D3 is produced by how much sunlight exposure, but let's just say on average, a healthy person, maybe 10 to 15 minutes of unprotected exposure of the face, the arms, the hands, before 10 in the morning or after 3 in the afternoon, roughly speaking, depending on where you are in terms of the equator. But say down here, where we are in Sydney, before 10 and after 3, 3 to 4 times a week, 10 to 15 minutes per day, will give you enough vitamin D without skin damage. Now, if you happen, however, to go out with SPF skin factor, sun protection factor 30 on your skin, how much vitamin D do you reckon the sun will produce? Not very much at all. In fact, it reduces it by about 98%, production. So if you really want the vitamin D production, just go out in a healthy exposure, 10 to 15 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. Okay, and that should help you with your vitamin D3. So any questions? Any questions on that? Nope. Okay, so with this now, I'd like to we'll kick off our demonstration. So who's got recipes? Do you want to have recipe sheets? Yes? Okay, so our first recipe is going to be demonstrated. I'll just check if they're okay. Okay, first one is you. That one there, is it?
Correct. Although we called it chlorophyll salad.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so the mixed green, or chlorophyll salad. Chlorophyll salad. Thanks, Vivian. And she's going to take us through this recipe tonight.
How's that? Hold your breath, everyone. Okay. Stuff it in there. All right. Fabulous.
Sorry.
Let's get rid of it. Okay. Right. Thank you. All right. So we're starting off tonight strong with a green salad. Your recipe is a guide, basically. Just think of any green vegetable you want, stick it in here. We've gone with broccoli, cabbage, spring onions, spinach, cucumbers, and some pepitas for some crunch. But we've got some optional things on there: lettuce, kale, peas, snow peas. You could add other nuts, almonds, cashews. We thought avocado might be nice, asparagus, snow peas, yeah. Yeah, basically any green veggie. We're trying to get all the fibre, the goodness, the chlorophyll into you. So I've pre-chopped everything. If you're making a big version of this salad, just get ready to get into like chopping mode, because there's a bit of chopping. There's a lot of fibre in this salad, so I'm going to say we made it tiny slices to help with digestion. So we're starting with our chopped broccoli. Make sure you use your stems too. Broccoli stems are the more nutritious part of the broccoli, the sweetest part. So no chucking the stems out, they're the best part. So we've chopped everything up nice and small. Next I've got some cucumbers. You might also notice that I don't have any amounts on the dressing. Just make it using your heart. If you like something, add more. If you don't like it, I'm terrible with recipes. I'll go to Pinterest, I'll look up ingredients that I have at home and go, what can I make with these ingredients? Look at a picture and go, yeah, I'll make that, and then I'll just make it, and I don't follow the recipe at all. That was spinach, which I've also chopped up, baby spinach. You could use non-baby spinach, normal spinach as well. Cabbage, we've shredded it nice and fine. Our spring onions, also chopped up nicely. And our pepitas, just to make a little bit of texture. Just add that all in there. Now, so that I'm actually cooking in front of you, I'm making the dressing, all right? That's not prepared already. So, in a blender, full of flavour this dressing is, so you could use it on other things as well. Probably actually really nice on baked potatoes or something. But we've got mint. Again, on the recipe, we've got chives and garlic. We couldn't find normal chives, so we're using garlic chives here tonight. So it's like the best of both worlds here. But yeah, whatever you find. Some basil, love a good basil. Salt to taste. I don't know, that's roughly 1/4 teaspoon. Some nutritional yeast flakes. This adds a really nice kind of, umami flavour. Also helps make it a little bit creamier. That goes in. Lemon juice. I love lemon, so this is an entire lemon. And some olive oil, some good quality olive oil. Helps combine it all. And we want to mix that up, blend it to emulsify it. So, excuse the noise for a moment. Oh, that was much quieter than I thought. Check on that. Still a bit chunky. Do you know what? What I did before as well, you can make a note on your recipes, I added a splash of water. I wasn't sure if I'd need it here tonight, but looks like I might need a splash of water just to help bring it all together, because it's got lots of the greens in the herbs and everything, so they're a little bit, I guess, stringy, fibrous. So splash of water. You can make a note to do that if you need to. So Mum's just gone to grab that for me. Lovely lady she is. Yeah, that's the salad. Like I said, anything else green, add it in. It's really flavourful. This dressing is so full of flavour. Let's just go with a splash. All right, sorry. That's better. It smells good. It's minty, basil-y. And we'll just pour that straight in. If you are prepping this for a party or something, you can have all the veggies pre-chopped and just add your dressing just before you serve it. So we will stick that in there. Nice and green. Deliciousness. Put that there, and then we'll just give it a nice mix. You're getting so many different nutrients out of this salad with all the mixed of veggies. Sorry, this is getting smelling everywhere. Nice one for summer, fresh. That's it. So this one wasn't really cooking, but I just wanted to give you guys a recipe that used a lot of different veggies, so you can get all these different nutrients in your diet in one go. So yeah. That was it. You'll get to try this one soon. Thanks. Thank you, thank you. Oh, sorry, any questions? Yes, thank you.
The peanuts roasted?
They weren't, actually. They were raw. You could roast them if you wanted to. I was keeping it raw.
Only because I was told, and now I need it, because it says roasting the seeds makes them easier to digest and it increases their antioxidant levels and makes them even more delicious.
All right, wonderful. There you go.
Sunflower and peanuts.
Okay, there you go. So roasting them dry roast them, increases their antioxidant levels. What was the other thing you said? Sorry. Digest, makes them easier to digest. So I'm repeating it so that people who are watching can hear it as well. So there you go. You can roast them, lightly roast them. Any other questions? No, it's really straightforward, surely, not rocket science. Good, okay, wonderful. I'll get Mum out here for her next recipe. Oh, hello.
Good evening, everyone. How are we doing? Today, we're going to do something that's tofu, I suppose, but a little bit different. A little bit differently. I don't know, sometimes you buy those chicken nuggets and all those sort of things, the vegetarian version of chicken nuggets I'm talking about. And they sort of Well, some people say that it has a similar texture to chicken. I don't know, I've never eaten chicken. I was born vegetarian, so I don't know. But this apparently is the secret to get tofu to have that same consistency. So what you need to do, buy a block of tofu, stick it in the freezer overnight, the next day, thaw it, and then you can use it. And then it has that stringy sort of consistency. It's very different to what tofu tastes like, usually. So that's what we've done here. But what I need to do, when it's, once it's thawed, it contains a lot of water because of the freezing process, right? So then what you have to do, it looks like, this is half a block, okay? I've chopped it in half this way. So what you need to do is to get rid of the water. It's just like a sponge, right? And it feels like a sponge too, actually. So you just need to get all the excess water out. Yeah, so it doesn't take long. But it needed to thaw quite a bit because it freezes quite densely, right? Okay, that's that. And we're going to make a batter, and we're going to make a coating for the batter. I'll just chop this up into, well, you can do it however you like. You can do it in triangles, you can do it in cubes, you can do it in whatever, however you want to serve it up. But I'm just doing it in sections like that. So they're sort of just bite-sized pieces, and you'll be getting to try today. So I'm going to make two separate things. I'm going to make a batter, and with the batter I've got besan flour, which is chickpea flour. And chickpea flour adds a different dimension when it's baked. It sort of has a nuttier flavour rather than just using plain flour. You can use plain flour if you don't have besan flour. This gives it extra flavour smack. A bit of salt into that. Water, just to make it like a batter. And then we've got something called sumac. I don't know whether you've heard of it, Middle Eastern spice. It's made from a berry, and it has a very tangy, sort of a lemony note to it, right? It's quite sour. If you like za'atar and things like that, they have sumac in it, so it has that lemony sort of taste to it. It's very good for you, apparently. It's antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. It has vitamin A, B and C. It's very good for your digestion. It's good for your heart. It's good for diabetics as well, to lower blood sugar. So it's very good for you. It comes in a packet. This one's actually made in Turkey. And it's just the ground up berry, red berry, sumac berry. So that goes in here, and that gives it a really nice lemony tang. It's an interesting flavour. So we just mix that up. You can use a whisk if you like. Don't need to be precious about it. This table's squeaking. So it's just a batter, just like if you're making tempura or pancakes even. Is the crumb. is made up of, I got panko breadcrumbs in a bowl. Another interesting thing is sesame seeds, white and black. So there's both white and black sesame seeds. And mixed herbs. Mix it all together. And this just gives it, the black sesame seeds, or both sesame seeds actually, when you bake it, they have that nice nutty flavour, and plus it looks good with the black sesame seeds too. Okay, that's that. Now the next, whenever you do batter, I'll need the spoon probably. When you do batter, is use one hand for the wet, one hand for the dry. Otherwise you end up with a blob on each finger and you sort of don't know what to do and you can't do anything. So just put your tofu into the wet. Mix it up so it's well coated on all. Me? Okay, better? Can't hear my deep breathing anymore. Yes, you can. Help. Okay. One hand for the wet, dry, and then use the other hand to coat it. So that it's all coated nicely on all sides. And you can see how it gives a nice contrast with the black and the white sesame seeds, as well as taste good. Again, the wet.
Anyone got a phone on, by any chance?
My phone.
Just make sure you have your phones on. Sorry. I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay, same thing, and you do that for the whole lot. This way, when you use a full block, it's what, 24 pieces out of one block of tofu. Very yum, nice and has a little bit of the tartness to it because of the sumac. You get the idea? Do you want me to do them all in front of you? Okay, I'll just finish this lot. Then it's a matter of spraying with a bit of oil. You don't have to spray it with the oil, but I find that it crisps up better with the oil, and you don't have to keep it in the oven as long. It doesn't need to go in the oven for long, it just needs to crisp up really, because the tofu's cooked, everything sort of, you just want to toast the sesame really. It would be good in an air fryer, yes. Yeah, so I won't bother with the rest, you get the idea. Then it's a matter of, you have a paper towel? A matter of just spraying it. In the oven here, we've got a very good oven here. I did it at home, and I think half an hour was not quite brown yet, but here we did it for 10 minutes on 200 degrees, and it came out beautiful and crispy and a little bit crunchy and a little bit brown, so it was perfect. Thank you. It depends on your oven too, obviously, then. Just spray it a bit with oil in the oven on a high heat. Make sure that the oven is preheated. That way when you put it in, it goes straight in, nice and hot, comes out in 10 minutes, and it's ready to eat. And that is that. Very easy. Quick and easy snack. You can have it as a snack, you can have it as a side dish, you can enjoy it how you like. We've got one more demonstration and then we'll start giving you the food and you'll have samples to try it all.
Deborah's on her way out.
Deborah's on her way out. She's going to be doing our next thing.
Okay, so we start out with fresh breadcrumbs. So you basically take slices of fresh bread and you put that through a food processor. I tried this originally in my blender. I have a Vitamix and it worked, but it's a bit rough on the Vitamix because this is quite dry. Works much better in the food processor. So you put that in the food processor, you break it up a bit, and to start with, you just blend that first, or process that first. So I'm going to make a bit of noise. Okay. That looks good. So it's just to get it into almost crumbs. So this recipe is actually pretty simple in that everything goes in the food processor. So I took the chickpeas, canned chickpeas, and maybe I'll get you to put them in there. So it's 2 cups of chickpeas cooked, and then a large onion, and I kind of chopped it a little bit so it's not so much work on the blender. And then a cup of fresh parsley. So what I did is I just took all the, I don't know what you call it, the leafy parts and left all the stems. And that's it's quite a bit of parsley. And then a tablespoon of lemon juice, teaspoon of salt, sorry, keeping you busy, cumin powder, how do you say it here? Cumin powder, a teaspoon of sweet paprika. I tried the smoked paprika as well, that one works well as well. Now with the water, the recipe calls for half a cup of water. I'd probably put a little bit less than half a cup because it ends up a little bit too wet with half a cup, so probably just a little bit less than half a cup of water.
Can I put this whole container in there?
Yes. So I've measured it out a little bit less. 2 tablespoons of tahini. You're going to need the spoon to get that out. And then 2 teaspoons of onion powder. Now when I did the ginger, well maybe I'll wait till I'm finished with that one. So I've 2 teaspoons of onion powder. And then ground coriander, 1.5 teaspoons. And after that, 4 garlic cloves. I crushed or chopped, I just chopped these ones. So, if I were using the ginger, I grated fresh ginger, and I put it probably the equivalent of the 4 garlic cloves. And then I put ginger powder, and you probably could just do it to your taste. I probably put a little bit less than 2 teaspoons of ginger powder in those ones. But I found that the fresh ginger with the ginger powder, it gave it a really nice flavor. So after that, you blend all this up again. So this one's going to take a little bit longer, so it's going to make a bit more noise. So I'm going to stop and scrape the sides down and then keep going. Okay, so you do have to go a bit longer with that, and it's kind of not a fine consistency. It's a little bit. Do you have the camera? Okay.
Yeah, just hold it there. Yep, I can see. Yep, beautiful.
Can you see it?
Yes, okay. Just point it towards it. Point it towards it. That's it.
Okay, so it's kind of a lumpy consistency, but it's still quite.
For those wondering, this is being live streamed, and we've got all the cameras working here.
Yeah.
It's just getting the camera up to there is the problem.
So you can watch
So if you want to go home, you'll be able to watch this.
All right, so I'll show you if you can see that. It's quite wet. And what you have to do now is you have to form it into like a bowl, and then the ones that you're going to have today, I've rolled them in breadcrumbs just to give them a little bit more of a crust. The one with the ginger, I didn't use the breadcrumbs because I wanted to make sure I got those ones right, so we know which ones are which. But so the one that without the breadcrumb, they both taste just as nice as each other, but what I find, I'll just show you, is when you form it into the balls, you're probably going to need a little bit of water to wet your hands because it's kind of sticky, and it makes it a little bit less messy if you wet your hands, and then you can roll them in the breadcrumbs, or you can just bake them without. And before I baked them, I actually sprayed like a oil on top to get a crispy outside. But what you'll find is I baked these ones. We have a really good oven in there. I baked them for half an hour, and they're quite crispy on the outside, but they're soft on the inside. So you have that nice softer consistency, so it's not dry completely through. So I'll just show you how I do that. All right, I'm just going to wet my hands a little bit. Sorry, that's not going to come through. See, it's quite sticky, but with the wet hands, it's a little bit better. So I'm going to roll that one in the breadcrumbs to get a better consistency. So if I don't put the crumbs, it's still nice. So that's basically it, and then you spray them. So it worked well with both, with and without the breadcrumbs, but like I said, it just depends what you prefer on the outside. Like, it did end up with a quite nice crust without the breadcrumbs as well. So, and like I said, the flavor with, oh sorry, I'm not using the microphone, but my hands are dirty now. Do you want to hold it? But yeah, I think the ginger tastes just as nice as the other one, with the fresh grated ginger. So, hope you enjoy your samples.
Question?
Anybody have a question? Oh, yes. Yeah, you possibly could. The thing is, like, I've tried, if you want them to stay like a ball, they're going to end up being drier. That's what I found. So they end up kind of going down a little bit when they bake. They won't stay in the ball. But I think that's because they're softer on the inside. If you want a firmer ball, then you'd probably add less water or maybe some more breadcrumbs. But I like the inside softer rather than dry. So, any other questions? You could fry them, but the recipe does say to bake them. But yeah, you probably could fry them as well. Yep. Any other questions? Okay.
Is it tasty? Any constructive criticism? Feedback?
So how's that taste? Good?
I'm hearing mms and nodding heads.
That's good.
So I'm guessing everyone's okay with it. All right, we're moving on to sweets next. So don't fill up too much, but eat everything on your plate.
Okay, enjoying it? I just love the mint in the salad. I think it's just so refreshing. It's so good. It just takes me back to when I went to Vietnam. They put mint in all their salads. They use a lot of it, and it's just so yum, so refreshing. Okay, we're going to give you something a little bit out there. Some people, they like what we make, but when they find out what it's from, then they sort of, what? No way, you know. So this is one of those things. When you find out what it's from, but it tastes good. We're going to do this in two parts because I've got a lot of blending to do, a lot of mixing to do. And while I'm doing the mixing, Vivian will do the next presentation in the meantime. Hopefully that'll work. Okay, so who's heard of aquafaba? We've used it previously here, aquafaba. It's just the water out of your chickpeas. You can boil your own chickpeas and use the water that you boil the chickpeas in, or you can use a tin of chickpeas and use the chickpeas for your falafels and use the water, set it aside. It can be frozen, you can use it. It's a great substitute for egg. It's a great substitute for oil. If you need something to combine, if you're making patties or something and you need it to combine well, aquafaba is what you use. It beats up just like egg white, but you cannot overbeat it like egg white. Egg white will get to a certain stage and then it'll flop. Whereas this doesn't. This will flop when you start putting ingredients with it, so you have to be careful when you start putting ingredients with it. But we're going to make ice cream out of this, okay? And you sort of think, oh, out of beans, chickpeas, I don't know. But you'll be surprised. I hope someone's taken the ice cream out of the freezer. It needs to freeze at least 4 hours. And then it's nice and creamy and tastes good. You can do it overnight. It just gets more solid and harder, just like normal ice cream, I suppose. But it's a really interesting concept to make ice cream out of aquafaba. I have tried this. I tried it with stevia instead of powdered sugar, or icing sugar in this case. It changes the consistency quite a lot. It makes it, when you add it with the egg white, it sort of becomes glassy. How can I explain it? It sort of like crystallizes. I don't know, it changes the structure, but the taste is still good, okay? It still tastes good, it's just that it no longer resembles ice cream, okay? But it's still a good dessert. So if you want to use stevia instead of the powdered sugar, you can do that. So first thing I'm going to do is the aquafaba, which is just out of 1 tin. This is the liquid out of 1 tin. And then to that, I add cream of tartar. To that, I add a tablespoon of cream of tartar, and that helps it so it doesn't, it sort of keeps it together so it doesn't fall apart. So I'm going to be mixing this. I'll need my phone as well, or if someone wants to put a timer on. I need 6-minute timer for to this. It needs to be beaten for 9 minutes, the whole process, 9 minutes, so that it, thank you, give my phone too so I can do a timer, so that it can keep its shape. And you'll be surprised how much it actually makes, this little bit of liquid in there. So we've got the cream of tartar we add.
Can someone have a timer? Does someone have a help? Someone like the phone to time? Yeah, thank you. Just time it. Tell her when.
Oh, the recipe calls for half? Okay.
When shall she start?
Yeah, wait till I start beating. Yeah, someone else is doing a timer. Okay, so the cream of tartar in there, and I will get ready the next lot of things just so that we have, because it's made in 2 sections. We make the egg white and then we do, we blend up the fruit with a little bit of soy milk and some oil. The oil, you can omit the oil. If you're going to use coconut milk, for instance, coconut cream, you omit the oil. You don't need it because the coconut has enough fat in it to make it creamy. Whereas in this instance, we use a bit of oil so that it makes it creamy. So that's going to be in 2 lots. What I may do, just so that it's easier and quicker, if I do it's just that we need to do it in two sections, that's all. So I'll put the fruit in. Doesn't need a lot of fruit. Cup of milk. Soy milk, you can use any plant-based milk that you like, that you prefer, and the oil. So that's all ready to go. I can actually blend that up when I'm mixing this one, but we'll do it like this first. It doesn't take long.
Do you want us to start?
No, that's not the timer. Okay, that's that. Okay. All right, that can go. Thank you. Vanilla, this is just like similar to making a meringue. Okay, if you've ever made a meringue, you have to add your ingredients slowly to the egg white. This is going to be the same process. So we're going to beat this for 6 minutes. Then we add a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Then we beat it for another minute. Then we slowly add the powdered sugar or the icing sugar. for another 2 minutes. We're beating it while we're adding the sugar. So then that gives us our 9 minutes, and then we can fold in the berries. So, okay, you ready for your timer? All right, we beat it on high.
Doing some overnight oats for you guys. It's again a no-cook recipe for a cooking demo, but when I go to work in the mornings, I have to get up 5-ish. I snooze my alarm a couple times, but I say 5. And I'm not making breakfast at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I do this the night before, and I pop it in the fridge, and then I just grab it out in the morning, and it's good to go. And I'm demoing a lemon blueberry recipe flavour to you guys, but I vary this at home because I can't eat the same thing every day. So there's 2 parts to this recipe. So you'll need 2 bowls. So in one bowl we'll do the oat part, and the other one we'll do the berry part. So again, there's quantities on this recipe. I eyeball this at home. I've never measured how much I put. So there's no right or wrong. Just pick whatever consistency you like. So we start with our rolled oats. We'll add some milk. So we've got oat milk here. At home, I'll sometimes mix it up. I'll use yogurt and some milk. You could use Greek yogurt, coconut yogurt. If you like plant-based, if you want dairy, it's up to you. Same with the milk. We're using oat to keep it plant-based. You can use dairy if you like. So that's our oat. I won't put all of that in. Now I've got some LSA here, which is linseed, sunflower seed and almond ground up. Just helps with protein, fibre. Adds a bit of extra and you can't taste it. It's a bit of grit, but it's fine. You can add chia seeds. I use protein powder when I do it at home. I mix that through. Yeah, it just all gets mixed up and it just adds to the nutritional value of your breakfast. It keeps me full until lunch, which is good. And we will also add some zested lemon. So it's a lemon blueberry recipe, and I said before I really like lemon, so I put a whole zested lemon in. Smallish lemon, but a whole one. And I'll put our vanilla essence in that mixture as well. And then we've got some honey that goes in. If you want to be really strictly plant-based, you could use agave or maple syrup instead. But I like honey. Again, to taste, really, how sweet you like it. That'll do. Okay, so we just give that a stir through. Honey's sticking to my spoon. Just want to get those oats all covered in the milk. If you use yogurt, it's not going to be as watery, I guess. Either way, the oats absorb the moisture, and that's, I guess, it makes them soft in the morning. This recipe, it tastes like a blueberry lemon cheesecake, I reckon. It's really good. The blueberry part is so easy. Just some frozen blueberries and some lemon juice. So there's no sweetener in the blueberries at all. If they're too tart for you, feel free to add some sugar, honey, whatever you like in there as well. But I like the tartness that they add. So that's your 2 portions, and I've got a jar here. I just use a little container when I make them at home. But you layer the 2 different mixtures alternatingly. Oh, sorry, my honey is sticking to my spoon. Okay. Now it looks a little bit wet at the moment. It's quite drippy. But the oats do absorb all that moisture, and it's like creamy in the morning when you go take it out of the fridge. So we'll do, oh, there we go. There's our pretty one. Okay, so we'll do a layer of that. A few blueberries in there. You can mix this through as well, but the layering kind of made cocoa nibs, like raw cocoa nibs, which taste a tiny bit chocolatey, a little bit bitter, but apparently they're really full of antioxidants. Oh, sorry, timer, how are we going? Say again. What was the time at? Nearly there. Oh, okay, we're hurrying up. And the other one was chocolate with fresh strawberries mixed through. That's really good. Oh, and I've also done coconut.
30 seconds.
Oh, okay. Coconut with the oats, also really good mixture. Yeah, okay. That's basically it. You just layer that up, stick it in the fridge, and in the morning grab it with a spoon and go. Any questions on the oats before I give it back to Mum? Yes.
Instead of doing it each night,
Yeah, you could. I've only done that when I've forgotten to take it the next day, so I eat it the following day, and it's fine, it's still fine. But yeah, usually I just do it the night before, but I don't see why you couldn't like meal prep and do 3 in a row and just have them sitting in the fridge. Yep, yes,
made last night or today?
this morning.
This morning.
So it would still be even creamier overnight?
Probably, yeah. So I guess it's got to sit for a good 4 to 6 hours at least, just to give the oats the time to absorb everything. But yeah, doing it overnight gives me enough time. Like I've always enjoyed it on the way to work in the morning. But yeah, anything else before I hand over? Taste-wise, are we liking it?
How's that? Taste nice?
Yeah.
Good? Great, great.
Cheesecakey? I don't know. I had it for breakfast this morning.
What's the longest you've had it in the fridge for?
3 days, I think.
And does the lemon peel go bitter?
No, I haven't found the lemon peel go bitter. No. It'd be nice. Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
Our ice cream. Can you see how creamy that has become? Like it's like an egg white. Really, really fluffy and...
It's like a meringue.
That's like meringue, yes. And it'll go even more so once I put the sugar in and the vanilla. Okay, so I need a timer now for 3 minutes. And I'm going to do 1 minute with the vanilla. Okay, ready? When I did it? Does anyone remember? I didn't, did I? I didn't think so. Okay, this needs a little bit of vanilla as well. Okay, is a minute up yet? 1 minute up? 1 minute? 2 to go? Okay. I thought I had spoons out here. I need my other one. I want my other one. And it's pretty good. Oh, doesn't matter where you put it.
Problem is they can't see what you're doing.
Yeah. this one, and then comes the fun part. No. Anyone hear the timer? Oh, okay. 10 seconds to go. Okay. Now I hope you hold this bit. So it's really creamy. It's just like meringue. Just want to get it all out because it's all yum. And then comes the fun. See, it's quite stiff. Like it's just like meringue. Now we have to fold in the fruit. You can use different flavours. You can use peanut butter. You can use, I don't know, what else? Sorry? Mango. You could use carob. You can use any sort of fruit that you would enjoy, you know. And it was really good. Okay, you just have to do this slowly because it starts to lose its fluffiness if you do it too vigorously. And it becomes a beautiful colour. Now I believe they're starting to plate up the ice cream. We did this this morning. Well, it wasn't this morning actually, it was probably around lunchtime when we did it. So hopefully it has set enough for you to try, but it'll be nice and creamy anyway. And you'd never guess that this is made from chickpeas, chickpea water, you'd never guess. My husband's real fussy and he loves it, so. Okay. And it makes quite a lot. I mean, considering how much of the liquid we had was very little, I mean, it's a full bowl now.
Unfortunately, there's no samples tonight, sorry. No.
They're coming, don't worry.
Yeah, I said, if there's any leftovers, I'll have to take it home. I'll freeze it downstairs.
So if you don't want to combine it completely, it can be like a ripple effect. But anyway, that's the ice cream. So you put it in a freezer-safe container. You put it in the freezer at least 4 hours. First time I made it at home 4 hours. I couldn't wait. I was looking at the time. I can't wait to try this. And it was yum, really good. And then we left it overnight and tried it again the next day. It was a bit more solid, but it tasted really good. I'm sorry? You can put less sugar. It probably won't be as stiff if you put less sugar, and obviously less sweet too. But that's something you can obviously, experiment with. Yes? No, I haven't. I tried it with stevia, and I haven't tried it with the monk fruit, but I mean, why not experiment? Yeah, see how you go. But as I said, with the stevia, it changed the consistency. It wasn't like sugar. It sort of becomes icy, like glassy actually, like really crunchy, different consistency. I'm not sure if you could do it in a Vitamix. It's just that you need to have a whisk. Mix it.
Tell me.
Yeah, you can do it with a hand mixer, although, 6 minutes you'll be, doing it for a while, but you can do it with a hand mixer. Why not? I mean, it doesn't have to be a KitchenAid or anything. Yeah. What do you think? Do you have both in there? Do you have the ice cream and the oats in there? No? Huh?
I have the oats already, that's just ice cream.
Oh,
Just
you've
the
had
ice
the oats
cream, yeah?
already. Oh, I didn't see them eat the oats. Okay. Good. I tried it with peanut butter and it was good. Really good with peanut butter. If the fruit is frozen, it's better than if it's fresh because of unless you have it in the fridge, keep it cold, because once you start putting it in, it can start to separate and start to, flop. So if it's cold, it's probably better if it's frozen, the fruit. And that just helps with the freezing stage too, so that it freezes quicker. Any other questions?
So who would have thought chickpeas, huh?
I know, who would have thought chickpeas? Yeah, of course. Yes. I made with a punnet of strawberries that I had in the freezer at home. Yeah. And and it was actually really good because the strawberries were really sweet. They were really good ones, Of course, you do your own fruit. Yeah, even better.
What's interesting about it is you don't have a beanie flavour to it. Do you notice? Doesn't have a...
Yeah, you'd never guess it was made from chickpeas.
Yeah, you don't... Usually sometimes you get that beanie flavour with, say, for soy ice cream, for example. But this is very nice.
Very good. Okay. That's it. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Okay, well, that's it for tonight, for the recipes. Hope you enjoyed them. Did you all enjoy it? Yes? Very good. And I trust you'll take it home and maybe experiment with it at home this week and let us know how you went next week. So, here we have some great samples here for you too. Look at that. Fantastic. That looks almost like it could be served in a restaurant, yeah? You would pay $10 for that, wouldn't you? Or maybe more, yeah? Maybe more. So, well, thank you, ladies, and thank you for all the helpers. So everyone like to come out. So we have Zephaniah, Georgia, Lani, thank you. Anyone else there? Come on. Oh, they're washing the dishes. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, but thank you very much, everybody, and everyone here. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. And Rosetta. So don't forget, being on a cooking demo night, for those who are here for the first time, at the end of this building downstairs, we do have a small, it's sort of like a health delicatessen store. It's like just various products you may not be able to get everywhere, just a few of them down there. And guess what? Being a cooking demo night, for those who are regularly coming here, there is a what? 10%, that's it, 10% off. 10% off tonight for all the foods down there, and maybe there's a couple of things that are on the recipes here that you could probably get downstairs as well. So that's tonight, and next week we have our second and last one for October. Unfortunately, we didn't have as much of help with resources, so we weren't able to do 3 this time, but next week is our last one, and then we'll be back again in May. It's May next year. So with this now, let's close. Just ask you to invite you to bow your heads, those who are able to, and we'll just thank the Lord for tonight. Dear Father in heaven, we thank you for these recipes tonight. We thank you for giving us this knowledge and for the blessing that comes with preparing food in as a natural and a healthier way as possible, the way that you've intended it for us, that it can nourish our systems to the best the best end. And we ask now that you'll bless us each one as we go our separate ways, take care of us in this rainy night. May we all arrive home safely and bring us back here again next week. We thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, thanks everybody. Good night. God bless, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.